Yadavidya vilasena bhuta bhautika srishtaya tam naumi paramatmanam sachidananda vigraham. So, we were doing presumption, arthapatti. I think 121, the last para is left? Yeah. Any questions, clarifications up to now? Is all clear? Okay. Arthapatti looks like an assumption. Yeah. Arthapatti looks like an assumption, but it is not an assumption. It is deducting a fact without which you cannot explain what is happening. Remember Sherlock Holmes? When all possibilities have been eliminated, the only one that is left behind, however odd, should be the right one. So that's why I put it as also as deductive logic. Okay. And the famous example, of course, is Hatta Gatta Devadatta, Pino Devadatta, Divana Bhungte, doesn't eat during the day. Whole day is not eating. But Hatta Gatta, not losing weight. Therefore, you presume he must be nocturnal, must be eating in the night. Because there is nothing else that will explain the fact that he is not losing weight. Upadhi is hormonal problems, etc. That's called because every logic will have an upadhi, meaning some limiting factor. But even if you have hormonal problems, if for 1 week you don't eat throughout the day, it will have some effect on you. Yeah. So those are all presumption in a nutshell. Okay. All right. Then he had seen there is twofold, from what you see and what you hear. And in what you hear, he had also brought in the Shastra that Mithyatvam is Arthapatti, he had said. Mithyatva Kalpana is our case by Arthapatti. That when you say, this is, what you are seeing is not a snake, it's a rope. And when you put your flashlight on and you see, it is a rope, not a snake. But you saw a snake. Therefore, Arthapatti is what? That snake was a projection, was a kalpana. That snake is mithya, is by Arthapatti now. Otherwise, how do you bring in a mithyatvam? If you don't presume that mithyatvam, what will happen to you? Where did the snake go? Because snake is real now. So unless you presume it is mithya, the question will be, where did the snake go? Kidhar gaya? You be wary, looking around, waiting for it to strike from somewhere you don't expect. Yeah. Okay. So these two types of Arthapatti we saw. And also Arthapatti, like the other example we saw. You hear the word Dwaram, you are having the class and people are going up and down. I say, door. You understand Arthapatti, you may see it's not clear. The intention is not specifically stated. Even saying is not necessary. Even this much is enough, actually speaking. Body language. But if it is body language, it will become drishta, arthapatti. If it is heard, dwaram, then it is shrutam. You door. Why is he pointing to the door and saying door? You understand. He close it. It's disturbing too much. Close. Arthapatti. Yeah. Otherwise, what's the point in the middle of the class to say door? And then not build up on it, just say nothing. You just look at it and say door, and then continue the class. Arthapatti. He close it. Okay. So all this we saw last time. Yeah, we have seen this also, the last para also we had seen that, the last para that we saw yesterday, 121, the last para. Hmm.
This will cover only the fourth one, because the first one, that is Adhishthana Brahman, will be from the Shastras only.
No, please repeat.
When we look at the four definitions of Mithya,
Okay, which is the first one you are referring to?
four definitions, the first one, that it is dependent reality. That
Dependent
is from
reality.
the Shastras only, because
Yeah.
you know from the Shastras. The second two, that it doesn't exist in all three periods of time and it's always changing. That anyways, I mean, not
Okay, supposing I were to tell you, first definition. Okay, cloth is real. Supposing I were to tell you, only the cloth is real, what will be Arthapati? Kurta is mithya, dependent reality. Can you see? Even there it can come. Yeah, cloth is real, but he's holding the kurta and saying cloth is real. ये क्या बात है? Because kurta depends on the cloth. That's the Arthapati you have to make. It's a little bit more complex, a little bit more difficult. Why am I saying cloth is real when he's pointing to the kurta? It makes no sense. Unless you have that Arthapati, that I'm saying cloth is real because kurta is dependent on the cloth. Cloth is independent of the kurta, therefore kurta is mithya. Udhar bhi aa sakta hai, it can come there. Sarvam khalvidam Brahma, the same thing in the Upanishad. Sarvam khalvidam Brahma, all that is there is Brahman alone. Yeah, but I am seeing different things. Mithya. It's difficult. It is difficult to make that Arthapati, I accept. That's why teaching is necessary. Therefore, when the teaching is done, it looks as though mithya, the Shastra is talking mithya. Yeah? You have a question? Shoot. Of course. Any pramana works within a framework, a context. Even perception. It has to have the framework of light. Yeah. Yeah. So Mithyatvam is not something you see, no? Mithyatvam is a conclusion. See, the world is real is not something that you see. Do you see the world is real? No. You see name and form. Conclusion world is real. Similarly, what you hear, when I say this is nothing but wood, you see the wood. You see the table also. You presume the table is mithya because wood is a reality. So everything depends on that way for on perception. Can't avoid that.
It doesn't exist in all three periods of time and it's always changing. It's more easy to conclude.
More?
It's more easy to conclude.
Yeah, that is true. So some Arthapati is easier, some are difficult. Some inferences are easy, some are difficult. See, that will always also depend upon the background of knowledge you have. We see a medical report, what do we infer from that? Pata nahi? But a doctor will make a lot of inferences from that. No? That perceptual data gives a lot of inference for the doctor. It depends upon what is there inside you also. No? Because these are second step knowledges. So all that will depend. Yeah. So that thing will always come. That is why Vedanta will work for whom? Again, there is a whole list of things. No? Viveka rehna chahiye. Yeah. Agreed. Nobody has complete Viveka, therefore in the class we do that. Drigdrishi Viveka, etc. we take it in the class because nobody comes 100% ready. Yeah. Nobody comes, who comes 100%? Yeah. It's relative, the whole thing, the process is relative. Because all pramanas are mithya. Arthapati. All pramanas are mithya. Why? It's dealing with a mithya issue. It's different. Good question. All Vyavaharika. What about Shastra Pramana? If it is Satyam, there will be two Satyams then. Yes. Now, here comes the thing. Is knowledge of Brahman Satyam or Mithya? Exactly. Why? Because knowledge is vritti jnanam, na? Vrittihi kritva jnanam swayam nashyet. Having given you the knowledge, it goes away. Therefore, the knowledge exists in a human mind. Mind is mithya. Then how can mithya knowledge give you satyam jnanam? Even without that, without bringing an akhandakara vritti, how will you say? How can mithya knowledge solve your problem? Because problem is mithya. Exactly. Kantena iva kantakam. Traditional example. Kantena iva kantakam. Like you are walking in the village road, a thorn entered your feet. So you pick up a, you are not carrying your whole vanity bag with you to have your tweezers and all this. So you break another thorn and remove the thorn. Simple. You want to fan on or off it? Yeah. Yeah, that's preventing the sound from. And I think it all works at only one speed. So that is where the issue comes in. Mithya problem is solved by a mithya issue. But we don't always present Atma Jnanam as mithya, not always. Why? One thing is very important. Number two, the subject matter of the knowledge is not mithya. Subject matter of the knowledge is Brahman, that is not mithya. Therefore, be careful in terms of categorizing. No categorizing. Okay? Yeah, remember that. No categorizing. You don't categorize the knowledge as this or this or this or this. From this standpoint, this is what it is. Yeah. So keeping that in mind, any questions or it's all clear?
Swamiji, since childhood, when we go to school and all branches of knowledge, everything is categorized. So to get into this perspective, it requires so much of brain churning because your mind is trained and maybe it is advanced because the life works on departments and categories. You can't memorize anything if you don't categorize it. So
Correct. All learning in the world.
and then go back again after
Exactly.
out of the classes to go back to category because you have to function. So
That's why non-traditional teachers present Vedanta also categorically. Even teachers who have been exposed to proper traditional Vedanta, somehow when they want to make the students understand, make it simple and easy for them, they start categorizing. They start categorizing. There are teachers, you attend his class for 6 months, you will be able to give a good talk on Vedanta, write a nice article on Vedanta. You come to my class for 3 years, you will still struggle. Why? Because it's non-categorical. As Swamiji used to say, I'm pushing you in your corner until you will see it. Yeah. That's how it has to be. I get it for myself first. Article, teaching, talking, etc. बाद में देखेगा. Yeah. That's why I refuse to call a 3-year course in the ashram as a teacher's course. It is not a teacher's training course. You may have to say that when you have to present it to someone as a project. But it's not a teacher's training course. You gain the knowledge. You're clear about the knowledge and how it is unfolded. You're clear about that. Then you decide whether you want to teach or not. Yeah. People ask me, what made you decide to be a teacher when you went to the ashram? I said, I didn't go to be a teacher to the ashram. I went to get the knowledge for myself. I went to Rishikesh to gain the knowledge and some little bit of pandityam along with that. That's it. Then Puja Swamiji said, go confuse the people in Bombay. I said, okay. Really, I'm saying, I had no plans of anything. Swamiji asked me, what are your plans? I said, no plans. Began and ended with knowledge, nothing. Yeah. I want you to teach. I will. Hey, you want me to teach? I will teach. I know I can teach. Teach. So this was my first text I taught. Okay. Tarka Sangraha and this as a combo, I taught it for the first time in Rishikesh to the full-time students there who had come. ETN, all those 3-4 people were there. So to all of them, I taught this. Yeah. So nothing is categorical. Understand this in your understanding. The whole world you study categorically, you have to study it categorically. But once you learn to think non-categorically, difficult. It comes only in Vedanta. Once your mind gets into that part of it, one advantage you will have, Vyavahara advantage. You see any issue, any topic, you will be able to go to the heart of the issue. Go straight to the heart of the issue, what it is. Why? Because you're used to seeing the truth of things. Yeah, it is the truth of things. People think I have a huge amount of knowledge. I don't. I just go to the truth of things and I say, okay, this has to be this. That's all, nothing else. That's how it is. That's how your mind has been working. We can do it without that also. Learn to go to the core issues of things instead of being on the periphery. But that's it. That's avantara phalam, fringe benefit. Big benefit, but fringe benefit. Okay. All right. Now he is dealing with the topic of how this cannot be included in inference, because the Nayayikas, the logicians, the Tarkikas, Nyaya Visheshikas include Arthapati in inference. Now you can have a big debate on that. This is there, this is there. There's 2 standpoints. Okay? They say for the sake of brevity, we are including it into inference. Whereas we are making a clean-cut difference between inductive and deductive logic. That's it. Okay? The Greeks also presented as inductive and deductive logic. Why Greek? Because Western logic is Greek logic. Yeah. It is not developed much more from that until the study of quantum physics. Thoda it changed. It had to change. Yeah. All right. Nacha ayam arthapattihi anumane antarbhavitam arhati. It does not deserve to be put along with anumanam, he says. Anvaya vyapti jnanena anvaya antarabhavat. Because he says there is no anvaya vyapti. What is anvaya vyapti in inference? Parvato agnihi dhumatvat. Why? Yatra yatra dhumaha tatra tatra agnihi tatra tatra vannihi is the vyapti. Wherever there is smoke, there is fire. This is a Vyapti. Where have you gained it from? Any wood fire that you have seen. Okay. Yatha Pakashalayam. That's a classical example. This Pakashala is your kitchen fire. Those days everything was wood. So okay, Pakashala. Yeah. So this tonight you'll have to say in the campfire. And there will be enough people who say, campfire kya hota hai? Because not seen a campfire, now what to do? Yeah. Huh? Holika fire. Ah, that people have seen in India. Holika fire. Yeah. So you have to say, give those examples. Now, Pino Devadatta Divana Bhungte. What is the Vyapti there? For Vyapti, you need first sense data. To make an inference that Devadatta is eating, you have to have data. What is that data? Huh? He has not lost weight. Can you say, whenever you don't lose weight, there is eating? In fact, whenever you gain weight because of eating, it is not Anvaya Vyapti. Now, if he had got up in the morning and you see all crumbs on the bed, you can say that. But that is not the data here. You are seeing him in daytime. Whole day is not eating. What is your data? Whole day is not eating. Therefore, whenever a person is fasting, there will be loss of weight. That should be the inference. How are you making the other inference? Anvaya Vyapti is not there. Can you see this? There is no data for an inference. See, how do you make an inference? You need data, na? You need data for an inference. So, data kidhar hai idhar? In Devadatta, he is not eating. You are seeing that. So, if a person doesn't eat, he should be losing weight. No? If he is losing weight and you say, okay, clear-cut connection. But he is not losing weight. Can you see, there is no Vyapti Jnanam. He doesn't eat and gains weight. He doesn't eat but he is maintaining his weight. Ye Vyapti Jnanam kidhar hai? Whenever a person doesn't eat, he maintains his weight. हाँ मेरा वो ऐसे हो जाता है, खाएंगा नहीं तो भी वेट ऐसे होता है. Those are upadhis, okay? Yeah. So there is no vyapti, antarbhavya. Vyatirekena anumanatvam prag eva nirasti. You can't make a vyatireka vyapti. Now what is a vyatireka vyapti? A vyapti of absence. How are you making a vyapti of absence? No data available. Therefore that vyatireka vyapti. See, vyatireka vyapti exists, but not for inference. Understand this. Pata abhave kurta abhava. Correct, no? Yatra yatra pataha nasti tatra tatra kurta abhi nasti. But yatra yatra pataha nasti. You can't say tatra tatra kurta asti, you can't say. So, Vyatireka Vyapti, this is not there, that is not there. But that Vyatireka Vyapti is not meant for inferential conclusion. Yeah. That's what he's saying here. Atheva Arthapati Stale Anuminomi iti na anuyavasayaha kintu anena idam kalpayami iti. Therefore, wherever you have come to this type of conclusion, Devadatta, you will not have an anuvyasa, that reflection that I am inferring it. You will have to say I am presuming it. Yeah. In modern English, you may use the word I am assuming that. In modern English, we will use the word I assume. But old English, we had that very famous statement. When that explorer found Dr. Livingstone, who had disappeared for years into the African jungle, this British explorer finds this man. He gets, goes hunting for Dr. Livingstone. And he sees Dr. Livingstone in the distance, waiting for him because the tribals had told him. And he says, I felt like jumping up for joy. I felt like slashing the trees with my machete because I've been searching for him for a couple of years. But like a typical Britisher, he walked up and said, Dr. Livingstone, I presume, and shook hands. So, in olden English, the word presumption was very common. Very common. Why? Because there is a difference. Assumption is wild, can be subjective. Presumption is not. There is reason for it. There is a logical process for it. Yeah. Because assumption is like that. You can assume anything of anyone or any situation. Yeah. Like we came to the ground floor. You can make an assumption. Old man was getting lazy to climb up and open the door. Yeah, that's why he opened. Or based on previous experience, we can say top rooms must be busy. Wherever top rooms are busy, they give us a ground floor. That's presumption. It's not a wild assumption. Yeah, it's not a wild assumption. It's a solid presumption. Okay, yeah. Nanu arthapatti sthala. Okay, idam anena vina anupannam iti jnanam karanam ityuktam. So that's why we had said before that wherever a presumption is made, you know that without this, there is no way of explaining the situation. Anena, idam anena vina, without this thing, anupannam iti jnanam. This is not possible. That becomes the karanam for presumption. Because without this, you can't explain it. There is no other explanation. Deductive. There is no other explanation but this. Tatra kimidam tena vina anupannatvam. How do you say this? Without that, this is not possible. He says, Tad abhavya vyapaka abhava pratiyogitvam miti bruma. Abhava vyaka pratiyogitvam. Typical technical nyaya language. Pino Devata, come back to that example. Pino Devata datta divana bhungte. Hattagata Devata. Now, Ratri bhungtam vina. Ratri bhungtam abhava. Supposing he doesn't, abhava vyapakatvam. Then what will happen? Pinatvam api abhavam. Therefore, abhava vyapaka bhava pratiyogi. Yeah. Pinatvam will not be there if this is not there. Therefore, that has to be there for pinatvam to be there. That means he should be eating in the night for pinatvam to be there. Are you getting that connection? Therefore, simple. It is simple. He has just put it in technical language so that we have very clear cut. This is it. Karke. Okay. Now he is making a point here just to dismiss the Nayayikas Vyatireka Vyapti. The Nayayikas have a Vyatireka Vyapti. For those people whom I was thinking, I said Vedanta is non-categorical. Remember, this is all categorical. Why? We are analyzing pramana which is used in the world also and to help Vedanta also. All these pramanas are not establishing Vedanta, only Shabda is. But all these pramanas form Anukula Tarka, helpful logic, supportive logic. Like for example, Arthapati for Mithyatva, supportive logic to make your understanding clearer. Therefore, there some amount of categorization will come in. Okay? Therefore, Evam Arthapati Anumana Antara Siddho Vyatirekena Anumana Antaram. The argument is that you will be able to put it under that Vyatireka Anumanam. But we already dismissing Vyatireka Anumanam. Therefore, he says Arthapatti Vyatireka Anumananantaram na Prithvi Tri. Like for the example, how do they use the statement? Prithvi itarebhya bhidyate ityado gandhavatvam itara bhedam vina anupapannam ityadi vijnanasya karanatvad. The Nayayikas, what does he say? Prithvi itarebhya bhinnam. Correct? Prithvi is different from all the other four elements. Why? Gandhavatvad. Because it has got smell. Therefore, wherever there is smell, there is Prithvi. Vyapti hai? You're making a vyapti. Yatra yatra gandhatvam, tatra tatra prithivitvam. It looks logical. And I'll say, give me an example. Yatha. Yatha what? Like what? Wherever there is smell, there is earth element present. Like what? Where is their example? Yeah. No, if you are making it as an inferential.
Like the beautiful already, like wherever there is smell and earth.
Therefore, they will give a Vyatireka example. Vyatirekena jalavat, they will say. Can you remember Tarka? Vyatirekena jalavat. It because it is not there in jalam. What you should do is squirt some perfume in his face. But he will say that's because of Prithvi element, which is true. There is an additional of chemical which is Prithvi. It's liquid form. That is not water. Yeah, it's not water. Therefore he says, no, we can't accept those things. Then you will say like this, you can give the whole world as example. No? But what are you supposed to prove? That Prithvi is different from water. Therefore this thing is not valid. Yeah. Such an example is not valid, he says. Gatvam itara bhedam vina anupamanasya. Whereas you can say, itara bheda bhinnam. You can make a presumption. Prithvi, Gandhavati, I presume. Why? Smell is not there in any of the other elements. First rain, it smells. A smell is there of Prithvi. Why? Because water doesn't have smell. Therefore, this is different. Prithvi is different. Presumption can. And of course, direct statement is there. That's a different thing. You don't need Vyatireka Nyaya or presumption to the Prithvi is different from water. You don't need that. The direct statement is there, direct perception is there. Direct perception is there. Why do you have to say it? If water is different from earth. But these are all. That is why Nayayikas earned that term Anumana Ekachakshuhu. They only have one eye called Anumanam. Because even what is perceived, they will try to make it as inferential. Okay? Exaggerated use of inference. But you are a logician. Logic is important for you. See, it depends on how you define yourself. If you define yourself as a logic, then everything, including what you see, requires a logic.
Like they say, the book is, you see the book because the book is there.
Yeah, in interim. Everything has to be logically put. Yeah. Okay. Athaveya Anumana Vyavasaya Pratyetara Vedam Kalpayami. Therefore, you will say, I presume it is different. Or you can, in fact, you can actually see. This is only to answer the Tarkika. He is saying that. We are not saying Prithvi is different from water or from all the other elements because of Arthapatti. We are saying Arthapatti so to answer the Nayayika. Otherwise, your perception gives you, no? Water is water, earth is earth. But everything has water mixed in it. Yeah. Names and forms are mixtures of more than one element. That's why now can you see why they had to do in the Shastra. Shastra does it. Talks about Trivid Karnam. Sukshma elements, grossified, Panchikaranam. Panchikaranam was present in the Shastra as only Trivid Karnam, three elements. Arthapatya, 5 elements. If it's there in the 3, it has to be there in the 5 because there are 5 elements. Arthapatya. Yeah. So, subtle elements, gross elements. One theory is not cardinal. Yeah. Why? Because we are not using the theory to establish a creation. We are using the theory to prove creation is mithya. So you can replace the 5-element model with modern atomic theory. It's fine. Not a problem. Why? Because what is the tatparya of the Srishtivada? What is the tatparya of it? To show there is no Srishti, not to establish a Srishti. To show that there is no real Srishti, to show the mithyatvam of the Srishti. So that can be done by any. Tomorrow science is presenting something, fine. What tomorrow? Today, science is presenting something, fine, we can accept it. The 5-element model of creation is the most commonly used. There are other models of creation also. What are they? Any idea? Maybe I am stimulating your Vedanta knowledge also.
The Big Bang theory.
Huh?
The Big Bang theory.
Which one?
The Big Bang theory.
No, that is in science. I am talking in Vedanta. What is the other model?
Sankhya, Swamiji, Sankhya approach they talk about, right?
Yeah, Sankhya, but in Vedanta, what is the other model? Sankhya also fits into the 5-element. Karyakaranam is also 5-element.
So that when Avastha
Karyakaranam, it will be 5-element.
Swamiji, Avastha also is
What is that?
that also.
Huh?
Avastha
Avastatraya, yes. 3 states of experience. No, that model is different. Yeah, 3 states is different. They are like dream, yatha, swapnam. Is whole world is talked about only as a projection. Ishvara's mind projecting. Yeah. So, the simple Kalpana theory is also there. Now, don't ask me who is Kalpana. That part, okay. Yeah. Yeah. Another valid theory exists. Yeah. Dakshinamurti also makes the same thing, no? Remember? Yeah, the projection. Indrajalam, etc., all that thing, yeah. The way Indrajalam is also talked about in the Shastra. Yeah, the magical web. Yeah. So, you will find. Why many theories? It's just to explain what you see or what you see is mithya. We are not dismissing the importance of mithyatvam. Vyavahara. Important. Why? Remember again, that's why it is important to go back to the Brahma Sutras. Idam adhyasam puraskritya sarve pramana prameya vyapara. Laukika, Vedika. Keeping this adhyasa in view alone is all vyavahara. All transactions. Whether it is Laukika transaction, worldly transactions, Vedika transactions, and in Vedika transactions, whether it is based on Vidhi Pratishedam, do's and don'ts, in terms of the yagas, etc., first section, or Moksha Paranicha, even for Moksha, without Adhyasa, where are you going to come for Moksha? Because Adhyasa, what is the minimum quality for a person to be a seeker of Vedanta? Minimum quality. One quality, minimum. Huh? I have a problem. I am isolated, lonely. That's because of what? Adhyasa. Therefore, who is a qualified student for Vedanta? Adhyasavan Purusha. If there is no Adhyasa, will you come? I don't have Adhyasa. I know I am Satyam Jnanam Anantam. When you come to Vedanta? So Vedanta is meant for Avidyavan Purusha.
Swamiji, what about Panchakosha Viveka? That will also be included in
And 5 elements. Yeah. That's why it's the most common. Most common. That's why studying Mandukya Karika is not easy, no? Because the projection, whole thing comes as a not easy because of that. Yeah. Therefore, the common model used was this. Therefore, it's important to see that. In all this categorical understanding, don't forget the main Vedanta part. Okay, all this is meant to support that. This is meant to refine your thinking to help support that. So that is the main thing. Yeah. Therefore, without Adhyasa, there is no Vedanta. That means there is no moksha. There is no need for moksha also. If there is no Adhyasa. And how is Adhyasa established? What establishes Adhyasa? Perception, inference, arthapati, what?
that I am there, but where am I?
So what establishes it?
So that is Sotasiddha, that I am there, but I don't know who I am.
So agreed, that is avidya. I don't know who I am. What establishes it?
When you say what, you mean
Which pramana? Huh? Any pramana? Huh? Anubhava siddham. It is not by any pramana, because if it is established by pramana, it will become a valid entity like this book. It is not by anything. It is purely your experience, nothing else. Here is the only place, very few places where Vedanta will use the word experience. Anubhavam. That's why Puja Swamiji uses the word self-judgment because of that. It's a judgment you have made about yourself. Avidya is avichara siddham. It's a natural condition of the human mind. Yeah.
Or Swami, those who are yoga bhrashta, can we say it is akata jnanam because they are already born with some?
It's a tendency. It's only a samskara. And a comfort with the knowledge, easy in terms of understanding because you have dabbled in it before. It is like, okay, you learned driving 10 years back. 10 years you didn't drive. Before that you were driving. Now if you sit behind the wheel, a lot of things have changed. Like if I sit behind the wheel of a car now, first thing that has changed is what? Gear shift. In our times, it was all attached to the wheel. Why? Because heavier machines only were using the down gear below, along with the seat. Only when the thing was heavy. Yeah. Now all gear shift has changed, number one. Lot of things have changed. Accelerator requires a light touch. Our time we had to press it down. Fiat or Ambassador when they were. So like, but tell me, if I sit, like I have not driven for 40 years. Now if I sit behind the car, I'll feel comfortable with it. Is there a difference between me and an 18-year-old who's sitting behind the car the first time? There will be a difference because I am familiar now. I know some about estimation, turning, clutch brake, when to use what. Yeah. Or press the clutch before you move the gear, shift the gear. Those basic things are there, na? The same way if you are a yoga bhrashta. Some things are there. So when you say you are not the body and gives a logic, that's clear. That's clear. Whereas somebody else will say, how can he say I am not the body? I am the body, na? First Vedanta, Vedanta, he'll say, I am the body, how can he say I am not the body? For a yoga bhrashta, he'll say, correct. I am aware of the body, that's true. I am independent. Can you see? So there will be an ease of understanding. Yeah. Even language-wise, Sanskrit knowledge. Yeah. Okay. Your license is about to expire in 13 days. Okay. I had to get Swamini to see what is this about. Okay. I think quick heal antivirus. Whatever. Quick heal antivirus. Okay. Something to be bothered about or no? Okay. So, Yoga Prashta, this is the same. Even languages. Some language you pick up fast. Some you don't. Yeah. Some you don't. Why? Because you have dabbled in it before. Yeah. Or you are exposed to it before. It's just that much. Not more than that. Yeah. Unless you are one of the rare categories of Yoga Prashta, like Ramana. That's very rare category. How many Ramanas are there in the world anyway? No. Those are rare categories are born with that knowledge. Otherwise, born with even he had to work on it. That one word had to come externally, Arunachala. As a pramana it came. And he worked on that knowledge by himself. What is the meaning of Arunachala? And devotion to Arunachala was common in all the 4 southern states. All the 4, Arunachala as a hill was looked upon as Bhagavan himself. The whole hill is divine. That's why really speaking, you are not supposed to wear shoes on that hill. The whole hill is divine. Yeah. So that is already there culturally. Look at it. Ramana was born in a background where that culture was there. Background culture was there. Plus, Yoga Prashta, previous lifetime samskaras. The previous lifetime samskaras helped him to analyze it independently. But the pramana still had to come from outside, Arunachala. And devotion to Arunachala was there. He could have gone anywhere, no? Like there is one teacher who describes an experience he had. He sat on some hill in south, on some hill in Tamil Nadu is that, and he gained some experience. And I read it, I said, "Arey yaar, I gained the same experience in a train. 3rd class sleeper train going from Bombay to Kerala. I am reading a book, and then suddenly I was lost. And my mother is saying, what, are you sleeping out with that book open in front of you? You not turned a page for the last half an hour. I said, no, I was thinking. Aur kya bolega? That time if I had it's an experience, samadhi, bhava samadhi, the person will get, they all go crazy. They think I am crazy or they will go crazy. One of the two things will happen. So why did Ramana have to go to Arunachala? He could have had it in his house also. Really. In fact, he had it in his house. Death experience, remember the story? He saw a dead body in there. What is he's got? Suddenly he was afraid of death. That's also previous samskara. Why? It is the fear of change that makes you come to Vedanta also. No? I don't like all this. That my finitude is expressed by death. Mrityu bhyat, mrityu jayanna, abhishritanam. Remember? Advaita Makaranta. No. Hastamalikyam, I think. Yeah. Saddarshanam. Out of fear of death, I went to the Lord of death. Yeah. So, that's also previous samskara event. And then what? Worked on that. So the experience was there. But the devotion to Arunachala, which is cultural, in that area that he was in, drew him to this thing. Drew him there. And what did he do? Repeated the same experience there. And analyzed that experience. Analyzed the word Arunachala and got into it. There also the pramana is the pramana working. Pramana in the simplest form, in the form of 2 words. After that, vichara and nididhyasana. Atma vichara, finished. So the pramana works all the time, even for a yoga prashta, of that high level. of Yoga Brashta. We are all Yoga Brashtas, but not to that level, that's all. That's why some of us take it to it very easily, very naturally, very easy. Some of it may struggle a bit, doesn't matter. Whether you are a Yoga Brashta or first timer, this life is enough for you to gain it. You don't have to say, oh, I'm not a Yoga Brashta. It doesn't matter. All of us who are Yoga Brashtas are idiots. Last lifetime we didn't do enough effort to gain it. So, that's the whole thing. Then we come to the last of the pramanas. Okay? That is this is Anupalabdhi. How do you recognize absence of things? Okay? When thing is an absent. Remember, when a thing is absent, can you make an inference about it?
Yeah.
How? Where is the Vyapti?
When that person is not there, that is
One second. Is Sonali there? She is also here. Is Sonali here? No. Do you make an inference? Wherever there is an empty space, there is problem ho jayega. Sonali will become all pervading then. She's here on the YouTube. She's not well. So she's there on the this. Yeah, she's here, not there. So you can't make a Vyapti like that. Okay. Then, so inference is not there. Perception, you are not seeing the person because Indriya Samyoga is not there. You are not making a inference. Can you make an presumption, arthapatti? What is it that's not been explained? Her absence is not there, finished. What is arthapatti about it? You could make one arthapatti. She's a keen student and she's not here. She must be caught up with something. That much arthapatti is valid. She must, now look at it. You are not saying she is not here by arthapatti. Arthapatti is that either she is not well or she is caught up by something. That arthapatti is valid. But that she is not here in this seat is not arthapatti. It is not anumanam, it is not arthapatti. Is it upamanam comparison? Not upamanam. What is left? Is it shabda pramanam? Because I say she is not there, she is not there. Apta vakya. You know, you see it directly. You don't need shabda also for it.
Still, it's direct.
It's direct knowledge. Direct knowledge. How do you get that knowledge is called Anupalabdhi. In simple terms, what do you say? Keeping Sonali image in your mind, you look around and say she is not there. This is the simple way of presenting it. That's what happens, isn't it? When I ask you, is Sonali here? I even look Sonali in your mind and look around and say, nahi hai.
What if it's dark and I can't see and I say that I don't.
Then even perception will not work. Nothing will work.
Then
Even then it's not arthapatti.
then God would be further investigation.
Then it's not arthapatti. Yeah. In fact, I had a batchmate who plays this joke at a party. Black. He was more black than the Africans. And he had bright white teeth. So his friend will go and switch off the mains. Yeah. Hey, where are you? Here. Can you not see my teeth? It's a joke they used to play. I'm not joking, this is true. Johnny, madcap character. Anyway. So, the next pramana. Now, why is it dealt as the last pramana? Because among the 6 darshanas available in India, traditional darshanas, what do you call orthodox darshana? Orthodox because they accept Veda as pramana. Okay? Nyaya, Vaisheshika, Sankhya, Yoga, Mimamsa. Only Mimamsa and Vedanta accepts Anupalabdhi. Other pramanas don't accept Anuparatti. In fact, Nyaya Vaisheshika, which is what is being challenged in this book all the time, say the organ which tells you the existence of the object, the same organ will tell you the non-existence of the object. Now, to establish that, okay, a little bit introduction today. Next time we can see the thing. You need Indriya Samyoga. Now you will say non-existence is not an object for Indriya Samyoga. How have they circumvented that? By putting Abhava as a Vastu. You remember why they, now you see why they have done that. Abhava is, they'll say. Which is fine for us. Abhava is acha hi apne liye. Kinchit bhava masti we say, no? We don't say abhava, all abhava is pure absence. Especially when it comes to knowledge. Avidya is not put as absence of knowledge, it's put as opposite of knowledge. Why? Kinchit bhava masti. All that. So, but in Nyaya, to circumvent this problem, they have to put abhava as an object, vastu. It is to circumvent this. Remember, it's a developed darshana, a developed school of thought, a developed vision of the world. That's why it's called a darshana. Vision of the world, vision of themselves also. Any darshana has to have that, no? Vision of yourself, vision of the world. And if there is a source. So they have a vision of the Ishvara also. So all that has to be developed. So according to them, that's a vastu. How do we counter that it is a vastu? How do we counter? Is abhava a vastu or not a vastu? Huh? That is science. Yeah.
A non-existent thing cannot exist.
A non-existent does not exist, number one. Or we can say, if abhava, what is the difference between abhava of pata and abhava of gataha? Pata abhava, absence of pot, cloth, pata. Absence of gata. What's the difference between the two?
No difference.
No difference. Gata abhava and pata abhava, no difference. Therefore, if abhava is one, how can you say gata abhava is a vastu, pata abhava is a vastu? Because eyes are meant to tell you differences, no? This is different. That is, okay, where is the abhava difference? Yeah. How can you say this is different from that? Agreed, we will categorize abhava as four. That's a different thing. Prag pradvamsa standpoint. But here, if it has to be a vastu, then how will you displace that vastu? There is Sonali abhava there. Then if Sonali comes to sit down there, she can't sit down there because Sonali abhava is there. It's a vastu. That means you will have to say abhava and bhava can exist at the same time, same place. Now if you look into Nyaya arguments here, I am giving you arguments. Correct, no? If you say Sonali abhava is a vastu there and Sonali walks into the door, she will not be able to sit in there. Why? Because abhava is already there. Problem ho jayega. Sonali, see what all problems you are creating. Huh? Yeah. Yeah, exactly. So you have 100 counter arguments to it. You just have to use common sense. Yeah. So both cannot exist in the same place. Because two bhavas cannot exist in the same place and time. Or you will have to say Sonali bhava is sitting on the lap of Sonali abhava. You get ridiculous arguments out of it then. So abhava is not a vastu.
Swamiji, that abhava difference, there is no difference as such because abhava is abhava. But that further categorization is always there, na, of the object.
Correct.
There is common, but that further.
So you are saying then abhava is common.
But that
Then you cannot have specific abhavas. Like gata bhava, pata bhava. You can't be specific. You'll have to say one common abhava.
But this is what they are implying because they say it's a vastu.
Yeah. There is, once you say the vastu, then it becomes different. Then you will have to say is it Vyakti or Jati? You want Tarkika arguments here. This is how you go in Tarka argument. When you are handling a Tarkika in a discussion, I have handled that. So this is it. Vyakti va, Jati va. If you say Vyakti, then there has to be a Jati. So, all problems will come up. N number of problems will come up because you establish as a vastu. That means what final conclusion is, it cannot be a vastu. You can say kinchit bhavam asti. That's all. Because you want to bring in avidya and all that, some sort of thing. Some sort, because the abhava of the person is seen by anupalabdhi. You'll have to say kinchit bhavam asti. That much you can say. Enough for you to, for vyavahara yogitvam. Why? There is nobody there, you can sit there. Therefore, that nobody there is a part of your recognition. No? That seat is empty. That means there is a bhava of a person. In fact, when you say seat is empty, you are not dealing with the bhava. You are dealing actually speaking with the bhava of the seat. There is a seat there. When you say empty seat, what are you seeing? The seat. The locus is there. Adhisthana sattvam is there. That's all.
That's why we say kinchit bhava.
Exactly.
For everything when we say is not, that is there. No?
Yeah, is there. That's why we'll say kinchit.
That isness will be there.
Yeah, therefore we'll say the non-existence is dependent on existence.
Otherwise it will become like shunya bhavam.
Yeah, it depends on existence. Therefore, when you say abhava, it's mayikam. It's maya actually. You can't say there is pure abhava. Na sato vidyate bhava, na bhavo vidyate sata. Now look at that verse, Gita verse. With this understanding, look back. Na sato vidyate bhava, na bhavo vidyate sata. The whole big picture is different now. Oh my God, ये सब है उसमें, हाँ है. लेकिन तभी बोलेंगे तो भाग जाएगा. Even Gita class, next class nobody will turn up. Yeah, Vinita.
Swamiji, what exactly do you mean by kinchit? I don't understand the meaning.
Kinchit means a little bit, some sort of,
Oh,
some sort of, yeah, some sort of.
So does that refer to the potential or?
No, some sort of, yeah,
Okay.
yeah. What existence does the snake have on the rope? Just some sort of existence like your projection, that's all. That, yeah, kinchit bhava. Yeah, kinchit bhava, that's it. Some sort of.
Swamiji, in this abhava thing, no? Like for example, medically if I think, when we write that this thing is not there, so that thing is not there, that thing is important. Like we cannot say abhava general. Means at that
Exactly.
place it was
So what,
expected
and how are you knowing it? You're knowing it by anupalabdhi. Arthapati actually. Why? If the thing was there, this would have been there. But this is not there means that is also not there. That's the logic you're using, isn't it?
No, I'm not talking about that. Like for example, if I see some artery in a child in a pregnancy, and
Yeah.
I say that this is not there.
Ah.
So now that not there, that artery is very specific to that point and that thing.
So, okay.
So that
Let us say there is no pregnancy, for example. There is no fetus found. Okay? No zygote, nothing. No. How early can you detect it? 5 weeks. Oh, so it's a found fetus. Now look at it. You are saying there is no fetus found. Correct? Why? Arthapati. If the fetus was there, you would have seen it, no? So the emptiness of the womb can be explained only by the absence of the fetus. So if there was a pregnancy test, it's false positive. Can you see? Then?
What I'm asking is, for example, in a
In a?
In a fetus,
Huh.
we see one artery, one vein. It's
Yeah.
called ductus.
Yeah.
It's a very important part. It's a very important communication because once the baby is born, it has to flow.
Yeah.
If I write that part, that ductus is not there. Okay, so that ductus is supposed to be in some part in the fetus. Now that abhava of the ductus, there is no logic in that. I have seen it, it's not there, and I am writing it's not there. Now that has got very different.
Correct. All that is inference after that. 1 second.
Anupalabdhi becomes very important.
Yeah, all that is by Anupalabdhi, because the absence of this then explains this. Either the absence becomes for an inferential conclusion, Vyapti, and this is not there, that is not there. Generally, Arthapatti. This is not there, that is also not there. If that is there, this would have been there. Therefore, Anupalabdhi conclusions, Anupalabdhi and Vyavahara is used all the time.
No, but when we say Ghata and Pata, there is no difference in Anupalabdhi, but
Nay, that is 1 second. We are talking that about Abhava. Abhava is one. Tell me what will be the difference between Abhava of that problem or some other problem. In Abhava, there is no difference. But that Abhava implies lot of things coming out of it. All that is by Arthapatti.
Generally, abhava will lead to either arthapati or an inference.
Yes.
Has to. I mean,
Yeah. Arthapatti generally. Because you can't explain the absence of that without something else. No? Now there are two things coming in. If it was there, I would see it. I don't see it. That means it is not there, right? Anupalabdhi, this is Anukula, I am using Tarka now, I am not using Vedanta. By Vedanta we will say Anupalabdhya, it is not there. I look for this, it is not there. Anupalabdhya. Now, my other knowledge will tell me it should have been there. Now, then I can make an Arthapatti. What? This not being there is explained only by this fact, whatever fact it is. That means that fact is involved in the absence. That's how you are making a diagnosis. No? That fact is involved in this absence. Therefore, that second part is Arthapatti. Seeing it is not there is Anupalabdhi. Based on the Anupalabdhi now, I made an Arthapatti. Because any given branch of knowledge is complex, it is not one-to-one. You will use perception, you will use inference, you will use Arthapatti. The whole thing is used together. No?
why is it not inference? Sorry, I got you.
Vyatireka, no Vyapti. Yeah. Arthapatti, Arthapatti, presumption. I mean, you can put it as negative, this thing, inference. You are inferring it as a general catch-all because you are not making a difference between Arthapatti and this thing. That's what people do.
Very often in our day-to-day we don't make that.
Yeah.
between inference and
The negative inferences are all Arthapatti. So that's what makes it. Yeah. So now with Anupalabdhi we will see in detail. The introduction is over this time. We will see the thing next class. Om Tat Sat. Have a nice time. Day is